Right. Good afternoon to you, Juan. I hope you are doing well. I want to
Hello.
share today, I want to share a sutta uh, from the Udana. Udana means statement in English. Uh, and this particular sutta um, is about a very famous history that I think this information is in the commentary that is corresponds to a previous life of the Buddha when he was a king. So let's share the screen. So the sutta is um, followers of various other religion. Is the name is the Udana, the book 6, the sutta number 4, uh, and it's very comic because this history that we're going to read sometimes is used with the different traditions, and like it was saying, but some wise man of that tradition, but originally is Buddhist. So uh, here the Buddha make some compare other spiritual tradition with the Dhamma and the history that he talks about is somehow uh, very deep. Here is take the form of a history, but has different relationship with different suttas. So, I've heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Sawati in Jeta's Grove and Apindikas Monastery. Now, at that time, several ascetic Brahmins and wanderers who followed various other religions were residing in Sawati, holding different views, beliefs, and opinions, relying on different views. Oh, sorry. I am using the Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. There were some ascetics and Brahmins who had this doctrine and view. The cosmos is eternal, this is the only truth, anything else is futile. Others held view such as the following, each regarding their own view as true and others as silly. The cosmos is not eternal, the cosmos is finite, the cosmos is infinite. The soul and the body are one and the same. The soul is one thing and the body another. A realized one still exists after death. A realized one no longer exists after death. A realized one both exists and no longer exists after death. A realized one neither still exists nor no longer exists after death. So these are the 10 questions that the Buddha generally remains in silence, because if the Buddha would respond with answer these questions, the people who ask the question probably would take some side. So neither of these questions are skillful questions. And what is the meaning of skillful? That they know they don't lead uh, leads one to nibbana. Generally, these kind of questions are uh, put together as speculations. That is the why in the start of the sutta, the sutta says, holding different view, belief, opinions, relying on different view. This is very important because the sutta is strictly talking about the view, the opinion, and especially how much harm do the opinion to oneself and to another, and how generally our opinions make us to engage in not friendly discussions, quarreling, or even have disputes because my view is correct and yours is not. So all of these matters are not important. But from the point of view of history, these 10 questions were the question that the yogis and especially the yogis and all people, all the practitioners or teachers from other spiritual tradition were questions that they had in their own mind. It was a problem because all these questions are rooted in the duality. So if we take a look, we are going to see that is the cosmos eternal or not eternal, finite, infinite? Soul and body are the same? No, there are two things. And this kind of view are rooted in the vision of a self or in the vision of not self. And from hundreds of years before the Buddha's time, this was the main discussion between ascetics and sayers. So the Buddha cut off these kind of discussions, and he doesn't want to get involved in these kinds of speculations because he understands that when someone asks, is there an I? There is not an I, is finite, infinite, and so on and so forth. We always have these questions based upon an idea, the idea of I am. Even when we answer to ourselves, there is not self or no self, that in Buddhism is not self, no self. This is very important. It's a nuance, but it's very important. Because the Buddha doesn't want to get involved in this duality, and the only thing that he wants to discuss or teach is conditionality. Idapachayata is the word in Pali, specific conditionality. So, because certain specific conditions, we have certain results. And this is not a matter of opinions or a matter of views. It's just that you have to develop your own wisdom to see these conditions. And when the conditions change, the fruits of that condition, the results, change too. So we cannot say that there is an I that is permanent because the conditions are impermanent. And when something changes, the fruit will change. When we apply this to the view of I am that, we find that this view has a lot of trouble to fit in the reality. Who am I? The kid when I was 4 years old? The teenager? The young adult when I was 20 years old? Or who am I? So this kind of question, who am I, are really speculative and bring a lot of suffering. That is the reason why the Buddha chose not to answer this, because the perspective of the people who ask this question are rooted in the view of the self. And then the sutta says, they were fighting, quarreling, and disputing, continually wounding each other with barbed words, such is truth, such is not truth, such is not truth, such is truth. So that is the point. I remember now the Majjhima Nikaya number 18, when the Buddha said that he proclaimed such a doctrine that he uh, did not fight or quarrel with any god, human, uh, common people, king, or ascetic in the world. And that is great because the Dhamma is not for quarrel. It's just expose the conditions. What are these conditions? The Full Noble Truth. There is something, and there is the origin of that. There is suffering, and there is the origin, tanha, craving. There is the cessation of that suffering, nirodha, and there is the path that leads to that cessation, that is the noble path. So, very simple, but very difficult, because the view of the self is always put before our eyes, in front of our eyes, like a veil, that avoid ourselves to see the things as they really are. That is the reason because we have to meditate for in perspective of develop our minds through meditation. We have to fulfill or follow the precepts. We have to train our generosity, and eventually, when we train these three things, Panya will arise in our mind. Panya is wisdom, and this wisdom is the major thing that provides the possibility or the condition to liberate the mind. So this wisdom is see the things as they really are. And when we start to see the things as they really are, we train our disenchantment, our dispassion, and then the condition for liberation are there. So then several mendicants rose up in the morning and taking their bowls and robes entered Sawati for alms. Then, after the meal, when they returned from alms round, they went up to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and told him what was happening. The Buddha said, "The wanderers of other religion are blind and sightless. They don't understand what is beneficial or what is not beneficial, or what is the truth or what is not the truth. That's why they are fighting, quarreling, and disputing, continually wounding each other with barbed words." This is a very important statement. Why? First of all, the Buddha is based this declaration, what is beneficial and not beneficial. So what is skillful and not skillful? What is the meaning of skillful or wholesome or unwholesome? What is beneficial? Everything that leads us to Nibbana, to the cessation of suffering. What is unbeneficial or not beneficial? Everything that take away from Nibbana. The first aspect of this is we have to train and develop our mindfulness and apply this mindfulness to our state of mind. So this is the first major thing, because all state of mind, the mind is the forerunner of everything. If my mind is in an unwholesome state, my deeds, my speech or my actions will be guided by an unwholesome state of mind. So this is very important. Where is our mind in this moment? And because we are attached to our opinion is the reason that the fighting, the quarreling, and the disputing arises here in this case. So here is a very deep aspect, because we are identify ourselves with our opinion. And what is opinion? Opinion is a concept. So, what is an opinion? This is right. This is truth. And when we think like that, we think that that opinion or that truth is truth itself. Like if there is not any conditions that allows that to be a truth, it's because I think it's in this way, or I have my reason or my feelings, but we don't see at that moment, we are identified with that and we don't see the situation of the things as they really are. We don't see the conditions. We just are take our opinion as ourselves. And our opinion is very cherished for us. And if you attack my opinion or you are not agree with my opinion, I feel bad about it. This is very important. This is how fragile is our ego. That I have to defend myself in front of any action. So here the Buddha start the history, no, the story. Sorry. Once upon a time, mendicants, right here in Sawati, there was a certain king. I think that this king is the previous birth of the Buddha. Then the king addressed a man, please, worthy man, gather all those blind uh, from birth throughout Sawati and bring them together in one place. Yes, your majesty. That man replied, oh, sorry, I think I... Oh, no, I'm okay, I'm okay. He did, sorry, yeah. Yes, your majesty, that the man replied. He did as the king asked, then said to him, your majesty, the blind people throughout Sawati have been gathered. Well, then, my men showed them an elephant. Yes, your majesty, then that man replied, and he did as the king asked. To some of the blind people he showed the elephant head, saying, here is the elephant. To some of them showed the elephant ears, saying, here's the elephant. To some of them he showed the elephant tusk, saying, here's is the elephant. To some of them he showed the elephant trunk, saying, here is the elephant. To some of them he showed the elephant flank, saying, here is the elephant. To some of them he showed the elephant leg, saying, here is the elephant. To some of them he showed the elephant thigh, saying, here is the elephant. To some of them he showed the elephant's tail, saying, here is the elephant. To some of them showed the tip of the elephant tail, saying, here is the elephant. Then he approached the king and said, your majesty, the blind people have been shown the elephant. Please go at your convenience. Then the king went up to the blind people and said, have you seen the elephant? Yes, your majesty, we have shown the elephant. Then tell us, what kind of thing is an elephant? The blind people who had been shown the elephant head said, your majesty, an elephant is like a pot. Those who had been shown the ear said, an elephant is like winnowing fan. Those who had been shown the tusk, an elephant is like a plowshare. Those who had been shown the trunk, an elephant is like a plug pole. Those who have been shown the flank, an elephant is like a storehouse. Those who have been shown the leg, an elephant is like a pillar. Those who have been shown the thigh said an elephant is like a mortar. Those who have been shown the tail said an elephant is like a pestle. Those who had been shown the tip of the tail said an elephant is like a broom. Saying, such is an elephant, not such, such is not an elephant, such is, they punch each other with their fist. At that the king was pleased. In the same way, mendicants, the wanderers of the other traditions, are blind and sightless. They don't understand what is beneficial or what is not beneficial, nor what is the truth and what is not the truth. That's why they are fighting, quarreling, and disputing, continually wounding each other with barbared words. Such is truth, such is not. Such is not truth, such is. Sorry, it's not the translation from Bhikkhu Bodhi, it's a translation from Bhikkhu Sushato. I realize this now, sorry. So, Uh, it's a very interesting story because this show how broad is the reality. And we can observe this, we can see this just in one interaction between two human beings. If we have a friendly conversation between two friends and they start to share some experience of their lives, in no time we are going to see that both have many times different experience from the same deed, from the same experience, have different feedbacks. Why is that? Because probably the state of mind of each of the two men are different. Maybe one of them was joy and the other maybe was a little sad, and they experienced the same thing, but the projection of their own minds about the experience itself are tamed by this state of mind. So, do you like the water slides? Oh, yes, I like. I don't like so much, but nothing really nothing to do with the water slide. It's because at that moment I was I lost my job and I go to there to have some amusement, but I didn't engage with the water slide. And the other one was in a very good moment of his life, and he wanted to somehow celebrate this moment and go to the water slides, and it was an amazing afternoon, an amazing day. So we have a lot of conditions: mind condition, body conditions, and of course many conditions that are completely out of our control, like the weather, like the people around us, or even the water slide itself. So in this simple exchange of opinions and views, we can see a lot of conditions. And I think that this is very important because here the main advice from the Buddha is be careful with your judgment. Because when we start to be judgmental with someone, at that moment we start to personalize or we take the things personally, and then start the problems. We start to suffering because we think that the other person is a bad person, selfish, or whatever it might be. And if the other person are selfish or a bad person or evil person, I am a good one. Immediately the mind start to make friends and foes. But that is not the reality. That is our opinion. So in one sutta, I think it's the Brahmajala Sutta, the first sutta of the Digha Nikaya, that that sutta explain the 62 views, wrong views. It's a very long sutta, very deep sutta. The Buddha explained why is this, why some seers from another religion, some teacher of another religion or of another spiritual traditions, claim that their tradition is the truth and the other is not. And the Buddha related the experience that these seers has viewing, for example, their past lives, or maybe they have some kind of superpowers and can see some aspects that are not development in incomplete. They don't have a complete development of these superpowers, and then they see, for example, 4 or 5 lives previous to this one. All right, and maybe the fifth life that they see, they were a god. So they infer that we are the descendant of some kind of divinity. When we encounter with the experience of the Buddha, for example, I think it's in the Majjhima Nikaya number 26, the Buddha have the Tilakkhana. Tilakkhana is the triple knowledge. In the first parts of the night, he have a recollection of all his past life. That are eons and eons of his past lives. In the second guard of the night, he see the past life of different beings. And he could see why that being reborn as a god, as a deva, or as a brahma, or as a hell being, or whatever it might be, because the Buddha could see the karma. And the third part of the card of the night, the Buddha achieved the complete freedom, the supreme liberation. So this gives to the Buddha a complete knowledge about this kind of perceptions that are not rooted in any few experience. And because he saw all that, and because he understands that the law of the conditionality is really a complex thing. It's a complex thing to understand. It's not easy because has a lot of possibilities. So this kind of complexity makes me think that when we answer to ourselves saying that you are a bad person is a very simplistic answer. It's more easy to condemn someone or judge someone that observe what are their state of mind, what is my state of mind, that is more important, because through that state of mind, probably I could see, depends on my state of mind, I could see with more clarity or not. But for that, I need to let go my own opinion. I have to let go my own attachment to my opinion and to not take things personally, because it's not against me. If that person is angry with for some reason, and that person starts to talk with me and he starts to yell at me, that is not personal. That person is suffering because he or she is anger. That is why the Buddha says that a person who somehow do not fall in the claws of the rage to not only save himself but also the other person too, because he or she do not engage in silly discussions, silly arguments. So, then understanding this matter, on that occasion the Buddha expressed this heartfelt sentiment. Some ascetics and Brahmins, it seems, cling to these things, arguing they dispute the folk who see just one part. So this is very interesting because the dispute starts when we just see one part. And what is that part? My part. Mine or I or myself. So I think it's a very interesting sutta, short sutta. It's a very nice way to show how Sakkaya Ditthi is the first fetter, that is wrong view, and wrong view is really based upon an identity view and my opinion. And that is one of the things that when someone experiences the stream entry is free from. And from that moment, the Sotapanna, the stream enterer, will have Samadhi, right view, or harmonic view. Yeah, and it's very interesting because Sama means right, but also means harmonic, even. Somehow is a view that not engage in quarreling. So you can have your own opinion, I have my opinion, and we do not have to, there is no need to fight or to dispute about this. So, if you have any question.
Sure. Coming from a family that has a different religion or belief than the Buddhist, opinions always are inherited on what is life, what is death, and what is what occurs after death, right? And I came from a Catholic background family, right? But over the years, that religion did not give me all the answers. I was curious and I started researching, reading, experiencing other things. Today, I listen more to Buddhism. I think it's a phase in my life where I feel comfortable and I feel comfort. But I wanted to ask you, I recently lost a loved being in my family. And I'm still attached to my old beliefs that she's in a nice place and she's not suffering. It's something, I would say it's something romantic to say. So there I have a conflict that I wish she is somewhere where she's not suffering, especially because she had the last 5 months in her life were really suffering, and it was something the whole family suffered, and we tried to enjoy her while she was here. So how do those past religious beliefs interact with my new Buddhism and trying to be not self? But and it's something very emotional. I know it's an emotion what I'm feeling, but it is. I don't want to give up the old beliefs because it's sort of like I forget her or what she was, but I still want to research and understand more the Buddhist path and the not self. So I'm in that conflict. How do I undo it?
First of all, I can give you a simile
Okay.
about this not self that is in the suttas. It's a simile that gives Sariputta. You have to imagine that you have a candle, a light candle with a flame, and when you died, this candle set on the other. So this flame is off and this new flame is on. I ask you, these two flames are different or are the same?
Same flame.
No, different.
Why?
But they share some similarities regarding, for example, their conditions. They need fuel, they need air, they need the thread side of the candle. They need the candle itself because it's another condition that allows the flame continue over time. So when we talk about free birth, we talk about that the five aggregates, the body, feeling, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are like a flame. When you died and due to your own karma, you could rebirth in this same very plane, the human plane, or maybe in a different one. If you rebirth in any of the plane of the samsaras, you're going to have these five aggregates, except if you reborn as an immaterial being. They don't have a formal form. They don't have a body. So they only have four aggregates. So that is a similarity, for example, between you and me. We have five aggregates, but the form that you take is related to your own genetic chart. You are son of your mother and father, and I'm son of my mother and father. They are different, and every human being is like that. But we have this five aggregate that is somehow there are five processes that manifest this thing that we call the self. So the self is just an idea. It's not a reality. When the Buddha take this way of teaching the Dhamma, the five aggregates, he somehow tried to facilitate the explanation of this aspect of what is self, what is not self. So these five aggregates are the manifestation of this. And if you see a dog, you're going to see the same thing. The dog have a body, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Not so developed as a human, but it's there. On the other hand, if you reborn as a deva, your mental factors and even your body will be more developed. Your body will be beautiful, your mind will be more powerful, you don't need to eat, you don't need to work, uh, you live longer, and in that plane there is no suffering or very little. But if you're reborn in a hell realm, you're going to suffer for a long time. And what is the reason that we reborn in some planes? Our karma, especially the last moment, the last mind moment of this life. That would be the condition, the main condition to reborn in any of these planes of the samsara. That is why it's so important that the people that are around the person that is sick in his last moment try to uh, be out, uplifted mind, try to be happy, try to share beautiful moments, to share happy moments, because it's a very important aspect, especially for the people that is about to die. This gives the possibility, especially, and with this, I want to say that, especially with people that they do not train their own mind. You see, when you train meditation, sorry, and you go through all jhanas, from the first one to the eighth, neither perception nor perception, you somehow see how the process of death is. You're going to experience less and less activity in your sense and finally in your own mind. So somehow, when you go to the last jhana, and maybe you practice this a lot of time of your life, you start to understand what is the cessation of the mind. And this prepare to you to something that maybe happens to you when you died. But we don't have control when I'm going to die. I know I am going to die, but I don't know when, and I don't know how. But this I think this is very important to understand. And regarding your question, the hope is a very double blade thing, because not always is rooted in knowledge and wisdom. Sometimes it's rooted in fantasy. So at the moment that we hope without any base, we are deluded. And this is not a good thing for the mind. But if I return to my object of meditation, in this case to metta, and I radiated metta to that person, that will be very helpful to that person and for you too. Why? Because the mind is a giant broadcast station. That is the importance or the main thing of training our mind. Because we radiate whatever state of mind we have to the outside, to other people. So don't try to push away your old beliefs or your Christianity. Don't try to bite the new one. You have to experience for yourself. And I think at one point of your life, you will be prepared to just let go what is not for you a truth or a reality.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Remember, the Buddha said the same thing regarding Dhamma. You have to see for yourself. The Buddha can teach us hundreds of lessons, but if we don't train ourselves or we don't experience that lessons, it's meaningless. So give you time, practice, and you will see it.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right. Do you have another question?
No, I'm
All
good.
right. We're
Thank
going
you.
to share some merit in English. Wait a minute. No, this one is not. Wait. No, 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 no. Ah, here it is. All right. All right. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief. May all beings
May
find.
all
May
find
all
relief.
beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kind of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May the Lord protect the Buddha dispensations. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you, Fede. Bye.
I see you. Bye bye.